Well, we will go ahead and get started here today. Hello, everyone. My name is Katie Burkle, and I'm the Business Development Manager here at Qualtrics. I'd like to say thank you for everyone who's jumped on and for joining us today for our webinar, How Well-Maintained Data Can Add Value to Your Organization. To start off, a few housekeeping details. We will be recording today's demonstration, and so we can share it out afterwards. If there's anyone else within your organization you would like to have take a look at the presentation, we will be emailing that out. Additionally, if there are any questions during the presentation, there is a Q&A section where you can go ahead and type those in, and we'll make sure to address those at the end as long as we have time. So to start us off, I guess I will go ahead and introduce our two presenters today. We have Jeff Fouché from Pinnacle ART, who will be presenting a large majority of the content today, as well as Kayla Rux from Qualtrics. We appreciate both Jeff and Kayla kind of speaking on the topic today, and I will go ahead and turn it over to Jeff to kick us off. Do we have you there, Jeff?
Yes, I'm here. Do you have me?
Yes, we are good. We can hear you loud and clear.
Good. Okay. I apologize, I dropped out there. We're getting ready to go here with the introduction.
Yep. So I gave a little introduction that you and Kayla will be our presenters today. So if you want to go ahead and get started, we are good to go.
Okay. All right. So I will go ahead and let Kayla go here with a quick introduction on Qualtrics.
Great. Thanks, Jeff and Katie. Again, my name is Kayla Rux, and I work at Qualtrics. I'm a sales executive here. I want to give you just a little introduction of who Qualtrics is for those that are not familiar. Qualtrics is a compliance management software solution, and that's we actually created the software with accreditation needs in mind. Not only do we do the document management that a lot of people are used to, but we also can manage all of your processes internally. A lot of people think of like a corrective action or an internal audit. All of that can be processed right within Qualtrics. We also manage testing and training needs. We've been in business for actually over 24 years now. And like accreditation, we are always improving. That continuous improvement is on our minds when we are enhancing our technology as well as creating the great tools we have today. We ourselves are ISO 9001-2008 accredited or registered, they call it, and we're in the process of transitioning to the 2015, so 9001-2015. In the month of August is our final accreditation on that. Our customers are globally based all around the world. We are headquartered in Blacksburg, Virginia, right across from Virginia Tech University campus. And we also have an office in Europe in Milton Keynes, England. Jeff?
Okay. Get control here. All right. So, good morning, or sorry, I guess good afternoon. My name is Jeff Fouché. I wanted to, I will kick off this webinar with a few slides regarding the value of good data. First, I'll tell you a little bit more about Pinnacle ART. We are based in Houston. We have offices around the US and globally. We've been around for a little over 10 years. We have around 700 employees, so it's been a very aggressive growth over that last decade. We specialize in building reliability and asset management programs. And when we deal with these reliability and asset management programs, one of the things we deal with is a lot of data and data management systems. Some of the systems we work with are designed to manage compliance, such as Qualtrics, or documents, maintenance and work execution, inspection data, and many more other types of inspection data systems. Pinnacle ART's experience, we're heavily involved in the oil, gas, and petrochemical industries, but we also do a lot of work in the water, power, pharmacy, a little bit of healthcare, and many other industries. And so the reason I want to talk to you today is just kind of how can clients rely on managing good data so that they can make proper decisions on the information that that data holds. So for today's webinar, we'll touch on the following points. First, the importance and value of good data in our facilities. What is good data? the impacts of bad data, and steps to help drive proactive actions. Okay. So first off, what is data? Simply put, data is raw and unprocessed facts that need to be processed. This data can come from a wide variety of sources. For instance, in the processing industries, processed data can be numerical values such as pressure, flow, and temperatures within that process. You can also have data concerning your assets, which may include manufacturer, model number, materials of construction, design conditions, geographical location. And this data can come from a variety of sources, and it must be managed. So that brings us to information, and information is the evolution of data. So when you take data, process it, organize it, and structure it, it really becomes information. So one of the things Qualtrics specializes in is, let's say, compliance. So one of these is maybe taking laboratory data. So looking at the laboratory data, it can be both quantitative and qualitative. And this can provide information whether, say, your process is within spec. The data can also detail whether the sample, which is representative of the process, is within compliance, say with a permit, or within client specifications for that product. In particular, with compliance, the data not only needs to be processed into information, and analyzed, but it needs to be properly stored, whether it be for record keeping, audits, and other types of assessments. And so when we look at information, we really want it to drive mature decision-making processes at all levels of an organization. So when you have, depending on the businesses, for the listeners that are out there, you have these cross-functional organizations that may rely on, say, a reliability and maintenance group, a technical and engineering group, operations, and then you may also have, people with compliance, safety, but then also plant management and corporate need to rely on this information to make informed business decisions. And so that brings us to, bad data. Within this cross-functional group, with data being shared across different groups and people having different value associated with that data, this bad data and documentation can really impact decisions. So something that may not seem consequential to one group can be of very high consequence to another. And if that data is wrong, it leads to bad decisions. So as I mentioned before, data can come from many sources. And so one question to ask internally is, where will this data be stored? As you can see the clipboard on the left, will it be stored in a physical manner, such as paper records, or on the right-hand side, the computers in a digital format, say a document library? Now, many data systems today are becoming predominantly digital. So many of the streams of data that we have come in maintain their state of digital. That is where the industry is going, but paper is by far not going extinct. So one kind of question to ask is, what kind of document system does your facility employ? Is it a physical or is it digital? So are these files stored in a central location, or is it spread around that only the tribal wizards within your organization know where it can be found? So therefore, the evolution of data management is really towards digital systems, but there is more to managing data than just choosing a software platform. Considerations for what data you want to store, how you want to store it, what workflows are involved in storing it. Ask yourself, who is going to manage the storage and updating of data? How are people trained to acquire and manage this data? Some people may be well involved in the system, but some people may only be slight users of it, but they still need to know how their decisions impact those systems. So really, data should provide the benefit of quick decision making, and it should also allow for easy reporting of KPIs that can really track the performance of your organization. So let's talk about the value. In my past life, I come from the petrochemical industry. And like many other industries, three of the main business drivers at most facilities are safety, cost, and compliance. Now, the items that I've labeled below the main drivers are really some of the types of events, say a loss of containment event or an environmental event, an incident of some type. These are ones that we want to track and manage and obviously still avoid. But then we also want to have some KPIs such as what is our asset utilization? We want to maximize that. We want to take failures and outages, and we really want to minimize those. So now we look at the impact of bad data. And you see that data is really crucial to maintaining the health of business. Personnel must make decisions based on data that they receive in their day-to-day job. And so if this data is bad, really the effects can have very negative consequences. And so throughout my presentation, I'll be using the term failure a lot. And so failure in this context is very subjective. Now, I don't know where all the listeners are coming from industry-wise, but specific to your business, you may want to ask yourself, what is a failure? And so a failure may be an actual breakdown of a piece of equipment or a production line that affects profit. A failure could also be shipping the wrong product to a customer. So there's a satisfaction issue. Or was a customer provided a product that did not meet a critical specification? So as a broad definition, a failure is really the inability to meet a specific goal of your business. So now look back at the three main drivers and see, what failures can really affect that safety, cost, and compliance aspect. And so looking at the graphics on this slide, you really see that unknown and unmitigated risks. If you don't know what's out there, it can really lead to costly interruptions and failures within your business. But then on the other end of the spectrum, say over mitigation of risks, and using the petrochemical industry as an example, or any asset-based industry, really excessive maintenance is one kind of issue we see. Is people think, a risk of a failure with my asset is something I want to avoid, so we'll just over maintain the equipment. Well, one, that can lead to more failures by human induced failures, or really it just leads to ineffective spending. And so then you look at this false sense of confidence, and really reliability is just a number. It's one KPI, but there are many other KPIs that need to be reviewed. And so a false sense of confidence in one KPI really can have a negative effect on your long-term business decisions. For instance, maintenance tasks need to be defined. Repair and replacement decisions and capital spending must be based on good data. And so then we get to kind of the impact of good data, and so it's really, we need to understand what are the risks to our business, what are the risks to achieving safety, cost, and compliance? How do we reduce the failures that I've just, asked for you to kind of look into your business? And so good data will, of course, give you the confidence in making decisions and give you the accuracy you need with those decisions, ultimately leading to optimized costs or reduced failures, or just finding inefficiencies and eliminating them. And so we look at the concept of recorded data being reliable. And so, data that needs to be recorded really needs to be identified by the user. There's so many different streams coming in, but what is it that really needs to be stored? And best practice really should be to store it in a single location. Because if you take multiple locations and you store data there, how do you ensure that data is updated in both locations? One person may know to update it, but other people may not. And so that's where leaks of bad data can kind of come in. And then the user should really focus on making data put in easy. And this is where Qualtrics specializes in this area, is defining specific lists, formats, and other qualifiers basically help simplify the input of data. It's not just up to a person to understand, how should I put this in? Should I put this in as the numerical 5, or written out as 5? Hopefully not even Roman numeral 5. But data input alone is really not enough. Some of these processes that need to be evaluated are, how is the input validated? Is there error checking involved? Is there a requirement for auditing, reviewing for anomalies? Whatever process suits your business, these processes must be repeatable and the users have to be trained. And so there really is no single software that can manage all data within a business. So as you kind of move over to the lower right, you'll see that reducing databases should eliminate confusion, but the reduction of databases needs to be considered to prevent bad data leaking in. And then you get into ensuring qualified people. Training is key. Qualified people make these systems work. Unqualified people can really break down even the most robust systems. And so I asked earlier, what kind of documentation and data management systems does your facility employ? You may want to ask yourself, what do we need to store? What do we need to have access to? Look at, is it stored in multiple locations? Is it stored in an intuitive location, or do you have to, as I mentioned before, go to the tribal wizards? So really, when we get into, as Pinnacle looks into, reliability and asset management systems, data is the first thing we really have to kind of understand. Where is it? How is it defined, and is it accurate? So we want to understand, is there a document control system in place? Now the next bullet is very particular to kind of a processing industry, but is the data that you are storing, does it follow a standard taxonomy and nomenclature? And then again, on the personnel front, who is maintaining this information? So we want to ask, how do we ensure accuracy? Again, many of these items were mentioned earlier, but I just keep mentioning them again because I want to reinforce the importance. So again, number one, people make the system succeed or fail. Number two, minimize duplication. If you only have data in one spot, you can control that data in that location and not have any other rogue locations. Obviously, number three, data dropdowns that really help standardize the input of data. Number four, additional data fields may be necessary. And what I mean by that is, if you choose to use a software program, it needs to basically suit the needs of your business. There may be some default entries that you're going to use, but you really need to understand what are some additional fields that are particular to your business. And then number five, reduce the master databases. A similar number two is minimize duplication. And then number six, changing data in one location, and how does it impact? So really what that means is, you want to understand the links between data. I'm going to get into the concept of management change later, but what I want to do is basically preface the idea that how you change data in one part really can affect other areas of the business. So at a very high level, how do we ensure accuracy of our data? So one, is the information up to date? A lot of times we see many data systems are very transactional. So you may basically put data in, but it is not automatically updated. Or you may have a big cleansing routine where you go and make sure all this data is accurate. Well, again, it's a very static of that last time you updated it. So it's transactional in that sense. It does not keep up to date with changes occurring in the field. And so these systems really rely on humans to know what data to update, where to update the data, and when to update that data. So if you have a big decision on your hands, you kind of want to ask yourself, would you use the data to make business decisions? Because as you can see, bad data in is really bad data out. And moving forward with the accuracy idea is, how can we assure data accuracy? And to maintain strong, we really need to maintain strong management of change programs. Now, management of change is easier said than done. And this term MOC may be new to some listeners on this webinar. But the premise is, how are affected personnel within a business notified of changes? Because basically a change in one area may affect many other areas. You may be in the maintenance area, maintenance discipline. And you may make a change, but you don't realize that it affects operations, safety, industrial hygiene, or even plant management. And so really, the management change process allows for reviewers to understand the scope of the change and how it affects their role. And so that strong program doesn't stop at just implementing a change. You really have some post-change events that need to be identified. Understanding, what are there documents, especially controlled documents, that need to be changed? Are there training requirements, within your group or outside the group? Who needs to be notified of this change? And then how does it impact their checklist procedures? And then even if you make a change to an asset out in the field, you need to update the data within, its equipment folder. Do you need to change the material specs that are noted, in your document management system? Do you also need to change what spare parts you keep in stock? So that change really does have a domino effect, and you really need to understand those links. And so therefore, using outdated information in a decision-making process can be pretty dangerous. So you really want to have accurate data to ensure that all your analyses remain valid and that business plans do not become outdated. And kind of as a summary slide here, really in conclusion, good data allows us to identify the actual risks that affect our assets and our business. We want to be able to increase the confidence in our business decisions while making more accurate business plans, business forecasts, and even budgeting. Costs can be optimized by ensuring that the right processes are completed. And then what this really helps is lead to a reduction in failures, whether it's, the asset failing or a specification on that. We want to reduce those failures to increase the reliability of our business. So back to you, Kayla.
Thanks, Jeff. I'm going to request access here. So give me one moment, everyone, and we'll continue forward. And it looks like I've got access. As Jeff pointed out, there is great value in good data, and storing, reporting, and accessing that data is equally vital to your organization's success. Qualtrics really has dedicated ourselves to understanding the complexities of certification and accreditation, so we've created a single platform for quality management. As I mentioned, in the earlier slide, the introduction slide, we too are ISO 9001 accredited, and we're moving towards 2015. So we do have an appreciation to the specific needs and complexities of that certification process. Let's see if I can advance the slide here. There we go. We take our purpose very seriously as we help businesses such as manufacturing plants, testing labs, utilities, other organizations that have heavy compliance burdens. What we do is provide high quality software as well as services to try and make your lives a little bit easier and you the ability to really concentrate on the needs of your organization. So this is what Qualtrics' purpose is here on the screen. I'll let you take a look at that. And along with our purpose are our core values. Our entire team upholds these core values. These are really guides or posts for us in every decision that we're making, whether it's how we're supporting our customers, how we're enhancing the technologies, really how we work with customers daily. These are our core values. Now I'd like to take a moment and just kind of touch on our Qualtrics solution. What you see on the screen here are the different areas of the tool that we just have broken out. The software will assist you with accreditation management, ultimately reducing your audit preparation time and minimizing risk across your entire organization. With our document management portion of the tool, you will have a single central location for all your documents. So all your SOPs, your company policies, procedures, any kind of document will be in that central location. This will help you to meet your document control requirements. We also allow you to set up rights and permissions based on individuals, allowing them view-only access or the ability to take part in the approval process, whether it's creating, reviewing, editing, or approving documents. Our process management, or what we often call workflows section, will give you the ability to automate any process. I mentioned before, like corrective actions, non-conformance, customer complaints, calibrations, internal audits, accident reports, pretty much anything at your organization that has a process, we can automate for you with our process management tool. This will give you the visibility of gaps or bottlenecks that may be occurring. And by having this process automated, you can quickly identify where you're at in the process and follow through to completion. The test and training portion allows you to do simple acknowledgement tests, like a simple yes/no question that you send out to all the users with a new revision to a document, assuring everyone that needs to receive that most recent published version does receive that. Or you could do multiple choice questions to test for competency, to make sure that those users are understanding what they're reading, or a course they attend, or even a video that they watch. As far as integrations, we also have an open API, and what that does is allow you to develop with third-party applications, such as a LIMS system, for example, to have some link between the LIMS and the Qualtrics application. And everything I just outlined, from document management, process management, test and training, can all be reported on. So the data that you're entering into Qualtrics can be reported out of Qualtrics. Literally, with a click of a button, you can get your master document list, run a gap analysis report to see if you have any documents or how many documents are each area of the particular standard. You can also find out how many corrective actions took place in a particular time frame or in a division of your lab or organization. And you can also make sure everyone received and read that latest published version of an SOP. And pretty much on and on. Again, anything you're putting into Qualtrics can be reported out of Qualtrics. This is a view of just a couple of our customers that are using the Qualtrics solution. We're always happy to introduce you to users in your same industry or in a location near you, so you can hear how they have used a quality management system in their organization to help with their accreditation, their compliance, and really just everyday overall smooth processing within their environment. Katie?
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Kayla. Sorry, guys, had to take back control of the screen here. So that is it for our presentation today. I would like to say a big thank you to both Kayla and Jeff for jumping on. And it does look like we have one question here. Again, the Q&A is still open if anyone has any last minute questions they would like to reach out with. But the question we got was, if anyone was interested in getting some more information, how would they go about doing that? So maybe Kayla and Jeff, I will let you each share, I guess, how someone would go about getting some more information, or a demonstration from either of you all about Pinnacle ART or Qualtrics.
Great. Jeff, I'll let you go first.
Oh, okay. I'll go first. All right. Well, I mean, as you can see on the screen, we have our contact information. So, you know, let's go ahead and establish kind of a one-on-one contact, you know, reach out. I'll assume to either, you know, myself and Kayla, and we can then, you know, establish, you know, getting contact information, and then really understand what is it that you're trying to do. You know, what is it that your business needs? What are you trying to do in your role? Pain points, goals, objectives, etc. So I think just reach out via email for me.
Great. And then for me, again, always feel free to reach out to me via email. You can also visit our website at qualtrics.com. And we do what I call a quick overview. So it's a 30-minute overview, and we do that every 3 weeks or so. And that's a session that you can sign up for on our website. We also have multiple other web demonstrations that are previously recorded or up and coming. And then otherwise reach out to me and I'll give you a call, and I can always do a one-on-one presentation to you as well, so that you can really see what the actual Qualtrics solution looks like, and we can discuss how it can help your organization.
Wonderful. Well, again, thank you all so much. I will stick on for another few minutes here if anyone has any additional questions they would like to send in. But again, big thank you to both Kayla and Jeff today for their time, and we hope you enjoyed the presentation. Looks like a couple people are dropping off and no more questions. So thanks again, everyone, and we'll go ahead and wrap up.